SoCal audience, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Spring Sports Show. Today we have ourselves quite the show, as we have a lot to get to in the world of Southern California sports, such as the Lakers losing an embarrassing fashion to the Timberwolves as their season has officially come to an end. Very, very disappointing showing by the Lakers, as what do they need to address in terms of the offense? Also have a guest to discuss that, as well as the Clippers, as Clippers at least put forth Game 7, but will they be able to win Game 7 tomorrow against the Nuggets in Denver? We shall see. And the Rams and Chargers both had pretty solid drafts, if you ask me. Will they be able to build off that going into the regular season, if not the off-season? Also, the Kings are also out as they lost the Edmonton Oilers again in the postseason. When will it end when it comes to the Oilers' reign over the Kings? Also, in positive news, the Padres and Dodgers both had great weeks last week, unlike the Angels, who were kind of the ugly duckling of the bunch. Also, the Galaxy lose again, and San Diego FC unfortunately loses again, but LAFC tied and Wave FC managed to walk the win as well. For all that more, here on the SoCal Spring Sports Show, Teran Rodriguez bringing you another edition of the SoCal Spring Sports Show here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Spring Sports Show. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Friday morning, Friday wherever you are listening from. Either way, you've made your way to episode 225 of the SoCal Spring Sports Show. And without any further delay, let us begin. But first and foremost, the SoCal Spring Sports Show would not be where it's at without IE Sports Radio providing the platform to go live on StreamYard. Please do follow IE Sports Radio on several different social media platforms such as X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Also, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We would greatly, greatly appreciate that. And we're so close to 400 subscribers. We definitely are trying to reach that at the very least. We're trying for 500, but baby steps. So definitely do subscribe to us on YouTube. Also, make sure to check out our website, iesportsradio.com, for all of your latest sports news, our blog, our page dedicated to each podcast, such as the SoCal Spring Sports Show, our merchandise shop, where we've got t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and so much more. Also, make sure to check out our Hall of Fame, where yours truly is inductee number 10. And check out our Fans of the Month, our blog, and a whole lot more on our website. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports teams around the country. Thank you to everyone for all of your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. A huge shout out to our sponsors, Plant Jerky, Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, and Vital Apparel. So without any further delay, let's get on in to what our sponsors are all about.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
That's right, everybody. Definitely check out all of our amazing sponsors. Vital Apparel, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, and Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Also, make sure to check out our website, iesportsradio.com, as I mentioned earlier. The way you can follow the SoCal Spring Sports Show on social media is on X,
formerly known as Twitter, at SoCal Show IESR. And you can follow me personally on X, formerly known as Twitter as well, at Teran Rodriguez 1. Hopefully Twitter isn't as down, and hopefully you all can see me because I saw a little bit of a glare. Hopefully that's better because I actually have a new layout for this week. I'm not downstairs, I'm upstairs. So hopefully you all will be able to see me do my thing because I'd love to be downstairs, but my folks are home, and I think it would be in my best interest to be upstairs. Out of respect and courtesy for them while they're here. So without any further delay, let's get on into the SoCal Sports Action. As Brian Francione pops in the chat room, he says, "Good afternoon, Teran." Thank you for popping in, Brian. I appreciate you. All right, so let's talk some Chargers and some Rams. So we'll start with the Chargers draft. So when we left off, I was talking about the Chargers draft and how they were able to. They made their first round selection, taking Omarion Hampton with the 22nd overall pick in the draft. I'm gonna try to see if I can adjust this. No, that's not good. That's not better. I'll probably just have to scooch a little to my left. I still think there's a little glare here. I think that's better. Yeah, stinking mirror. But anyway, so the Chargers drafting Omarion Hampton was definitely a good move. I mean, Jim Harbaugh loves his running backs and whatnot, so I think this is a solid move. And yes, they have Najee Harris, but why not have a good 1-2 punch? I think that's what the Chargers have been lacking. They've only just had one good, really good back. They haven't had two good running backs since probably maybe Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler. And even so, Gordon still had his fumble issues. So there was that right there in terms of the first round pick. Rams, like I mentioned, they didn't have a first round pick. So looking at the Chargers rest of their picks and whatnot. So going over to Chargers. So yeah, they got Omarion Hampton in the first round. Round 2, they got Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. Now, this was a pretty good pick, if you ask me. Everyone was wondering why they didn't take Matthew Golden. Well, remember what the Chargers did last year? Last year, they took Joe Alt, and then eventually they took Ladd McConkey in the second round. Well, they kind of traded with the Patriots to do that. But this time around, they got another wide receiver from the SEC, might I add, in Trey Harris. So pre-draft analysis, Harris is a Louisiana Tech transfer who caught 114 passes for 2,015 yards and 15 touchdowns. And then post-draft analysis, one of the top needs for the Chargers in this draft was a receiver who could live up to the outside and win downfield, allowing Ladd McConkey to thrive from the slot. That's exactly what Harris brings to the table as a smooth route runner with fluid ability in the route system and drive phase. Harris has the outside receiver ability with X-receiver tools, even if McConkey is still the team's top target. Okay, so that's good. And honestly, I had a feeling they were going to address the wide receiver in at least the second round, maybe the third round. They actually didn't. I'm surprised they didn't take I forget the guy that went to the Baltimore Ravens, but he's from I think he's from North Texas. Either way, the Chargers didn't go defensive tackle or edge rusher. They did go defensive tackle with Jamari Caldwell out of Oregon in the third round. All right, this is solid. I mean, they needed to address that following the departure of Joey Bosa. Says Caldwell is a big defensive tackle with the size and strength to help clog up the middle, stop the run. When he plays with good pad level, he stacks and slips blockers and can fight through double teams. He needs to improve as a tackler, but he tracks the ball well and can get off blocks. He didn't record a sack in 2024 at Oregon, but he moves the quarterback off his spot on tape, and he had 6.5 at Houston in 2023. So that's pre-draft analysis. Post-draft analysis. The Chargers had a need at defensive tackle. Had a need at defensive tackle after losing Poona Ford in free agency and ranking 27th in yards allowed per carry last season. Yikes. So even with an improved run defense, the Chargers still allowed the highest amount of rush yards per game. Caldwell is an excellent run stuffer, but this is early for a defensive tackle who isn't expected to help the Chargers pass rush, and I had heard several defensive tackles ranked ahead of him. So that's courtesy of Munich. So, all right, it is what it is. So they did draft an edge rusher, however, in the 4th round. So they drafted Kyle Kennard in the 4th round. All right, so pre-draft analysis, Kennard's 34-inch arm length is outstanding, and he can stack the offensive tackles as a run defender. He closes well chasing from the backside and has good stopping power as a tackler. He knocks blockers' hands down while working upfield. And Kennard forced 3 fumbles in 2024. He walks offensive line tackles back to the quarterback and can get off blocks late. He can get to the quarterback with a second effort. All right, I like it. Then the 5th round, the Chargers went with another wide receiver, Keandre Lambert-Smith. So Lambert-Smith led Penn State in receiving yards in 2023 and led Auburn in receiving yards in 2024. He ran a 4.37 second 40 at the combine and averaged 19.6 yards per catch in 2024. He plucks on the run and then puts himself in position to run after the catch. He pulls away from pursuit, getting behind corners and tracking the ball well. His arms are long and he has body control to adjust to the ball in the air. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna pretty much go through that. I mean, that was in the 5th round. I guess the Chargers did not have a 4th rounder. No, they did. They had Kennard, but they had 2 5th rounders. So I'm not gonna really. Okay, this was kind of another position I was looking at, tight end, because obviously the Chargers did get Jack Conklin, but they drafted Oronde Gadsden II, tight end out of Syracuse. So his pre-draft analysis reads, and then this will be the last one. Gadsden is a hybrid receiver and tight end who presents the quarterback with a big target working against zone looks. He wins with savvy route running, hand fighting, and his size versus man coverage. His frame makes him a tough matchup when he splits out wide. He has long arms and big hands. Gadsden plucks the ball when making contested catches, but he can also adjust to back shoulder throws. He is fast enough to make plays down the seam and runs hard after the catch. So that's pretty much that in terms of him. The Chargers had 2 6th-round picks. In their first 6th-round pick, they decided to draft Branson Taylor, offensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. And then their final 2 picks, their other 6th-round pick and their 7th-round pick, were R.J. Mickens, safety out of Clemson. And then their 7th-round pick was Triquise Bridges, safety out of Florida. So, okay, I kind of don't understand why they went safety. I mean, they've got Derwin James and Alohi Gilman, unless they don't plan to bring back Gilman, but I digress. All right, but I guess you kind of got to develop him. I am a little surprised they didn't go cornerback. It doesn't look like they went cornerback, which, okay, that's a little bit of a reach just because the Chargers don't have a corner, and they're going to have to sign corners either in free agency or get them via trade, or they're just going to have to use their undrafted free agents. Maybe they can get another Michael Davis-esque type of player, but we shall see. So all in all, I think this is a solid draft. I think this is a solid B draft for the Chargers. I mean, the 1st-round pick, the Omarion Hampton pick, it was pretty good. And then they addressed the wide receivers. I think the Auburn kid is going to be really good. And Trey Harris, I think, is going to do great, especially with how Ladd McConkey had a great season last year. And I think they can only go up from here. So I think this is very good for the Chargers. I think it's a B, at the very least a B. It could pan out to an A. I just don't think it's going to fall anywhere under a B minus, maybe C plus, but we'll see. All right, but that's that for the Chargers recap. Now for the Rams recap. All right, so the Rams did not have a 1st-round pick, so they actually traded for the Falcons' 2nd-round pick, and they got the Falcons' 1st-round pick for next year. So us Rams fans are now going to be hoping that the Falcons do not have success. Sorry, ACS. But for the Rams, they actually selected Terrence Ferguson, tight end out of Oregon. Okay. That's kind of a reach if you ask me. I mean, Tyler Higbee missed most of the season. I get it, but I feel there could have been a better selection of tight end for the Rams. And honestly, your first pick in the second round is a tight end. I kind of question that, but honestly, I can't ultimately fault that too much. So, pre-draft analysis, Ferguson is Oregon's all-time leader among tight ends in receptions and receiving touchdowns. He ran the fastest 40 dash. Okay, that's a little promising for tight ends at the combine, and he tied for the quickest 10-yard split with 1.55 seconds. Ferguson's speed shows up on tape, but he is also agile enough to make defenders miss or break tackles after the catch. He can separate with his hands and has the tools to develop into an effective route runner. Finding windows over the middle, he uncovers when the quarterback scrambles. The Ducks also ran a handful of screens for him where he was able to read and follow blocks for extra yardage. So that's pre-draft analysis. Post-draft analysis, Tyler Higbee, who is 32, missed most of the 2024 season with injuries, and the Rams needed to improve with the depth behind Ferguson, has the potential to develop into a number one tight end, and he gives the Rams someone who can make an immediate impact as a receiver. All right. Okay, so reading that, it's pretty good, actually. I mean, there could have been better tight ends. I think Harold Fannin was still available for the Rams, but this is a good pick. I mean, again, this was kind of an underrated pick for the Rams. I mean, they kind of needed to address the tight end room just because Tyler Higbee did miss most of the season. But this is still good. I can't knock it too much. Next up, in the third round, the Rams selected Josiah Stewart, edge rusher out of Michigan. Stewart is a relentless pass rusher who is quick and close well on tape. He rips under the offensive tackle's outside shoulder and bends back inside. He transitions from speed to power and drives offensive tackles, pushing them upfield and redirecting them inside. Stewart overwhelms running backs, and his snap anticipation is impressive. He gets to depth and reads the quarterback when dropped into coverage. He could stand up tackles and tight ends thanks to his low center of gravity and explosiveness. He makes plays chasing from the backside. That's the pre-draft analysis. Post-draft analysis, general manager Les Snead drafted two difference makers last year in Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse in the first round, and defensive tackle Braden Fisk in the second round. Now he gets great value in Stewart in the third round. Stewart is an excellent fit at outside linebacker in the Rams' scheme and should complement Verse well. All right. Well, it looks like the Rams defense is going to get younger and younger, but honestly, I can't complain about this one bit. If it's going to help the Rams, I think the Rams will definitely be able to build off that. Again, they're going to have another young defense, but it's going to get better. I mean, Jared Verse and Braden Fisk both made leaps and bounds, especially Jared Verse. And remember, this is the first year after Aaron Donald. So they squashed the narrative saying they don't need Aaron Donald. Everyone was thinking Rams are going to regress without Aaron Donald. I think we can put that claim to rest. Ralph Clace pops in the chat room. He says, "Good afternoon, Teran. Have a great show." Thank you, Ralph. His show will be coming on later on today, the Ins Report. And then Ralph also mentions Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris are going to be a crazy duo to deal with. Please take care of Najee out there in Ralph. He put San Diego. I'm going to say this, as much as true Blue Chargers fans back in the San Diego era don't want me to say this, the Chargers are in LA. The LA Chargers, not the San Diego Chargers. Unless he was joking about that and he meant to and he knows that the Chargers will forever be San Diego. But I digress in that regard. But Ralph Calise, my man, I love you, brother, but it's Los Angeles Chargers, not San Diego Chargers. But I'll forgive you for that. But yeah, he does make a great point about Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris. And yes, I promise you, Ralph, the Chargers will take care of Najee Harris. He's going to be a great 1-2 punch with Omarion Hampton. It's going to be fun times. I'm already salivating at the fact when it comes to that. But when it comes to Josiah Stewart, okay, well, I mean, it's a good pick. I mean, I can't complain about it too much. I think it's a solid pick if you ask me. I mean, it's going to help the Rams defense. It can't get any worse. And they're going to have the label that they're still young, but Josiah Stewart is going to learn from Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, and I think it's going to be big. Fourth round, the Rams selected Harquez Hunter, running back out of Auburn. Okay, this is kind of an interesting pick. They have Kyron Williams, and they have Blake Corum from last year. Pre-draft analysis. The way Hunter accelerates out of cuts and through the line of scrimmage jumps out. He ran well at the combine with a 4.44 40-yard dash, and that speed shows up on tape. Hunter can make the defenders miss when he gets into space. And because he's built low to the ground, his contact balance is outstanding. He even delivers the blow on contact. In receiving situations, Hunter doesn't drop too many passes and can pick up extra yards. All right, well, I will just say Kyron Williams and Blake Corum might have some competition, if you ask me. And okay. Ralph says they will always be San Diego to me. I was raising you. Okay. All right. Well, that's fair enough, Ralph. All right, but back to Hunter. All right, Harquez Hunter. Okay, I think this could be good. I mean, this kind of might have writing on the wall for Kyron Williams. I mean, as good as Kyron Williams is, he did have some issues fumbling the ball, notably against Philadelphia. And we have yet to see the true potential of Blake Corum. I mean, why not have this guy bloom and develop? He's 5'9". He's kind of reminds me of an Austin Eckler-esque type of player, but we'll see how this pans out. And then jumping over to round 5, the Rams drafted Ty Hamilton, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. All right, so it's another defensive tackle for the Rams. And they also drafted Chris Paul Jr., linebacker out of Ole Miss. I don't think he's related to Chris Paul, the NBA player, but I digress. And I highly doubt he's related to Cliff Paul. But Chris Paul Jr., some are saying this was actually a steal pick, if you ask me. I kind of think, I look at this as a steal pick as well. I think Chris Paul Jr. was obviously going to be a late round pick. But honestly, I think this is a solid pickup. And I think the Rams are beefing up their defense because they know next year is going to be a big year because they're going to be facing some good competition. They're going to be facing a lot of first-place opponents like the Lions, like the Bucs. The NFC West should still be good. I know the Seahawks got better. I know the Cardinals, I think, improved. The Niners probably will be better. I mean, we'll see. But that's about it. They lost a lot of their sixth rounders, or did they even have a sixth rounder? Either way, I think their seventh round pick, the Rams selected Konata Mumpfield from Pittsburgh. He's a wide receiver. Pre-draft analysis, Mumpfield didn't run well at the combine, but he averaged an impressive 15.6 yards per catch last season. He flashes after the catch and can work out of the slot and line up wide. All right, well, okay, I guess he's not one of the speedy tight ends, but I'm certain he'll be able to, build off that. And he's not going to come for Puka Nakua's starting job. Let's keep it a buck right there, but we shall see. And my boy Dre Area says, "What up, Teran? Thank you for popping in." Unfortunately, I can't display his comments because the mobile is weird and whatnot. So he says the Niners will be better than the Rams. We'll see. I mean, one can only hope. I mean, if the Rams have the season that they had last year, I think it could happen. The Niners benefit from having maybe the easiest schedule out there. I wouldn't be shocked if the Niners fail to make the playoffs and whatnot. And then Dre also says something else. He says, Rams are going down. Puka needs to keep my quarterback's name out of his dang mouth. Well, that's your problem. I mean, whatever. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, if he wants to say what he says, then do so. I mean, the man needs to get paid. Let's have Brock Purdy get paid first. Then we can have the whole debate and whatnot. But for now, I'll put the Niners in a solid position to get back into the playoffs. I'd be stunned if they fail to make the postseason again. I know it's going to be a little bit of a rebuild year because the Rams, or not the Rams, the Niners have to pay their players. And then we still have to wonder what's going to happen with the Brock Purdy situation. He should get paid. I can't imagine the Niners not extending Brock Purdy, especially after how he's pretty much led them. He led them to the Super Bowl that one year. I mean, obviously there was the Super Bowl hangover, but he at least deserves to be paid for what it's worth. But we shall see. And he also puts Lakers suck. Okay, that's going to be for later. If you could, Dre, if you could wait till the end of the show where I have my brother on as a guest, that'd be awesome. But just to close on the Rams draft, it was a solid draft. I can't say that this is going to be a flashy draft. I mean, I'll give it a B. I think a B, maybe a B minus, just to be realistic. I can't really give it too bad of a grade. I think C plus at worst would be fair. I can't give it an A just because they traded their first round pick to hopefully get another good first round pick next year. I mean, next year is probably going to be the year where the Rams address the quarterback situation. I don't think addressing the quarterback situation was going to be the case this year just because the level of talent from the quarterbacks isn't eye-popping, but it's still solid. I mean, some were going to say that the Rams were going to select Jackson Dart or Shedeur Saunders. I'm surprised they didn't go with Shedeur Saunders, but do the Rams really want to deal with that whole business with Shedeur and whatnot and his dad? No. So that's going to do it for the NFL draft portion of the show. All right, now we got to rip off some Band-Aids. The LA Kings unfortunately saw their season come to an end. Oh, this wasn't fun at all. This was not fun at all for the Kings. Last time we talked about them, they were up 2-0 against the Edmonton Oilers, and it was looking really good. I thought history was about to change, but unfortunately history repeated itself as Game 3 saw the Kings lose 7-4. All right, that seemed to be like the Edmonton Oilers that everyone was fearing. But Game 4 really irked me. Game 4 is the game that really boiled my blood to 100 degrees. So the Kings were up 3-1 in Game 4 against Edmonton. It was looking like the Kings had this game on lock, and the Kings were going to take a 3-1 lead going back to crypto. But something that the Kings seem to forget this season, they forget that there's 3 periods when it comes to hockey. So in that Game 4, going into the third period, Edmonton scored a goal 7 minutes and 51 seconds into the third period. And then right at the final minute, when Edmonton was on its last breath in that Game 4, they got a goal little under 30 seconds remaining, and then they tied it up at 3-3. So instead of taking home the win from Edmonton, going back to LA, the Kings were going into overtime to Edmonton. And then pretty much right before the overtime period was over, the Edmonton Oilers managed to get a goal from Leon Draisaitl. So very, 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 very sad game right there for the Kings. They had a chance to go up 3-1. They didn't. And that seemed to be the game where everything fell apart for the Kings. And Game 5, when the Kings hosted the Oilers, Adam Karnik said it best on Neutral Zone. The Kings had their backs up against the wall, even though it didn't look like it. Even though the series was 2-2, the Kings had their backs up against the wall, and they needed to win. But unfortunately, they lost 3-1. And then Game 6, they went back to Edmonton. This was a high-scoring affair. There was 4 goals scored by both teams in the first period alone. And then Edmonton unfortunately rattled off 3 straight goals. Well, actually, they rattled off another goal before the first period ended. Then they rattled off 2 more goals in the third period. So suddenly the Kings are down 5-2 on the road. And thankfully, for the Kings' sake, they were able to get within 2 goals before the second period ended. But in the third period, they just could not put the puck into the net. It was just very, very frustrating. The Kings didn't score until late in the game with about 30 seconds remaining. I'm thinking this feels like the case of too little, too late. And Kings did get within 1, but they had an empty net. The Oilers were able to get possession, and they scored off the empty netter, and that was pretty much that for the Kings. History repeated itself for the 4th straight year. The Kings see their season come to an end against those pesky Edmonton Oilers. And now I start to wonder, what do the Kings need to do in order to get everything to make themselves a true contender? I don't get it. It's first and foremost, what they need to do is they need to remember that there's 3 periods, not 2, not 1, just 3 periods. They need to learn how to play the 3rd period, because even in that first game when they won 6-5, they almost let a 4 or 5 goal lead go down the toilet. That's how bad this Kings team was in the series against Edmonton. They only played 1 complete game, and that was game 2 when they won 6-2. But it was so disappointing that the Kings wound up losing to the Oilers yet again in the series. And the four straight losses in this series after being up 2-0 kind of resembles the Kings' luck with the Oilers the past 4 years in the postseason. The Oilers still have their number. Some were saying the Kings are going to be dangerous and they'll give the Oilers a tough time. But the Kings just did not do that. I start to wonder if the head coach is the problem. I start to wonder if the players are getting old. I still wish that the Kings still had Jonathan Quick. I still am irked that they traded him away. It really boils my blood. So the Kings season unfortunately ends, and I am very, 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 very sad. And unfortunately, my StreamYard emojis don't want to work for some weird reason, but it is what it is. That's how I feel about the Kings, and it's off to the off season for them. Cancun on 3 for the Kings, so it is what it is. And honestly, Kings would have gotten hammered by the freaking Golden Knights as well. I think Vegas would have smoked the Kings, but watch as the Oilers demolish the Golden Knights. But this is just another long off season for Kings fans. I'm not the biggest Kings fan. I mean, I grew up liking the Anaheim Ducks. I mean, I like both teams. I don't necessarily hate the Kings. I just hate how the Kings just wasted the years of the great one, Wayne Gretzky. But I also hate the Kings for how they're so incompetent, how they can't seem to freaking get past Edmonton in the playoffs the past 4 years. It just doesn't make any sense. And the first round as well, it's Kings had so much promise this year, and this was my biggest fear. It's if the Kings drew Edmonton in the first round, it was over. And I was hopeful after the first 2 games. I was thinking maybe this is the whole new Kings team. Wrong. Kings are still the Kings when it comes to facing Edmonton. I don't know if it's an Edmonton thing. I don't know if it's a Kings thing. But one thing is for certain, Kings are one and done again in terms of the postseason. At least they didn't get swept, but at the same time, it's you get everyone hopeful being up 2-0. But I guess the old saying goes, the series doesn't start until someone wins on the road. Kings had that opportunity in Game 5, or I'm sorry, not Game 5, Game 4. They just let it go, unfortunately, and it really just frustrates me. So I can't really say what the Kings need to do in general. I mean, obviously, maybe get younger players, maybe get the ideal head coach, maybe get Mike Sullivan, who was just relieved from the Pittsburgh Penguins. But honestly, I think the Kings have a lot more problems than just one thing. I think they have multiple problems, and they need to fix it ASAP because this is starting to get ridiculous. I can't stand these whole one-and-done seasons. All right, but that's that for the LA Kings. Maybe I'll have a much better look at what they need to do in the offseason come in the near future, but for right now, it's just disappointing. All right, jumping over to MLS. So it was another bad week, as when it rains, it pours when it comes to teams not having the best of weeks, as the Galaxy once again lost, San Diego FC lost again, and then LAFC was able to salvage a tie, which I think is good. So I'm actually going to try to skim through most of these teams for the most part, just because I want to get my guest on here so we could talk Lakers and just bag on them, and maybe talk a little Clippers as well. But for the Galaxy, they still have yet to win an MLS match this year. This is the worst case of the MLS Cup hangover I've ever seen. And this loss against Portland, it felt like that the Galaxy was never, ever in it until later in the game. So the Portland Timbers beat the Galaxy 4-2. David DaCosta scored the first goal for Portland to put them up 1-0, and that was the halftime score. So Galaxy are only down 1. They have a chance to get their you-know-what together. They don't get said you-know-what together. So 8 minutes into the second half, the Portland Timbers, that was an own goal by the Galaxy. So own goal by the Galaxy, but, I like to give credit to, I think credit should go to, it should be just like hockey. The last offensive player to touch the goal, to touch the puck or the ball should get the goal credited to them. So Portland scored off of an own goal. Then in the 53rd minute, Portland scored courtesy of Santiago Moore. And then 10 minutes after that, Portland scored courtesy of Kevin Kelsey. So suddenly, instead of being down 1-0, the Galaxy are down 3-0. It's getting really bad. Then the Galaxy managed to get their scoring together in 4 minutes after the Timbers scored the third goal of the game, as Christian Ramirez scored to finally put the Galaxy on the board. And then the Galaxy got an own goal from the Timbers to suddenly make the deficit only 3-2. But 8 minutes after the Galaxy got the own goal from Portland, Portland drew a penalty kick, and Teran Rodriguez was able to bury the goal for Portland. And eventually the Galaxy just couldn't pull off the win, even though they dominated time of possession and they had the same number of shots on goal as Portland. It just wasn't meant to be for Galaxy. So the Galaxy just really like to irk me. So, and oh no, he is here. Marcus Losgreat is here. Marcus, I hope you're staying for the long haul when it comes to the Lakers segment, because that's going to be coming like in about maybe 5-ish minutes. Marcus says he has a big box of tissues for all Lakers fans. Oh, you're a comedian, Marcus. Real funny. And then he also says Kings been mid. Oh, he's talking about the LA Kings. So yeah, Kings are always mid. It's like, but like I said, even if the Kings got out of the first round, Vegas would probably give them a spanking. Anyway, back to the MLS. So Galaxy are back in action Sunday when they take on Sporting KC on the road. This isn't your grandpa's Sporting KC. I'm just going to say that right there. Sporting KC actually has been better. So here's hoping the Galaxy can get the win. They can hopefully get the win because they're one of 2 teams that still has yet to win the MLS. The other is Montreal. Anyway, so for San Diego unfortunately lost to Real Salt Lake by a score of 3-1. So the scoring actually got going in stoppage time in the first half, as Real Salt Lake scored courtesy of Diego Luna 1 minute into stoppage time. So suddenly Real Salt Lake is up 1-0. But San Diego was able to draw a penalty kick of their own 5 minutes into stoppage time, as Irving Lozano scored for San Diego. So suddenly it is 1-1 at halftime. Things are looking good for San Diego. Right? Wrong. So in the 54th minute, it's Real Salt Lake actually scored via an own goal again, off of the same person as well. Yikes. And then Real Salt Lake added an insurance goal as Samuel Junqua scored. And even though Real Salt Lake got a red card in stoppage time, it didn't matter. San Diego did not. It was too little too late for San Diego, as they wound up losing 3-1. So unfortunate end for San Diego, as they're back in action tomorrow when they host Dallas FC, or FC Dallas. So the only team to actually have a positive result was LAFC, as they wound up tying against St. Louis City SC 2-0, as LAFC got both of its goals from Dennis Bouanga, but St. Louis's goals came in the 52nd minute off of an own goal, or actually no, there wasn't an own goal. So St. Louis scored courtesy in the 52nd minute by Cedric Tuchert, and then LAFC scored courtesy of Dennis Bouanga, aka Captain Los Angeles, and then St. Louis scored off of an own goal, there's the own goal. So, and then, but before that own goal, St. Louis got a red card, as Alfredo Morales got a red card for St. Louis. So St. Louis was down a player. St. Louis did score a shorthanded goal, which is like, ow. I didn't mean to hit my head. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean. this is my reaction. It's like, really, LAFC, you really have to, you really had to allow a shorthanded goal. But thankfully, Dennis Bouanga was able to score the second goal for LAFC, and LAFC salvaged a point in the 2-2 tie. So what really irks me about this game is that LAFC actually possessed the ball way more than St. Louis. It really frustrates me, if you ask me, and I don't like it by any means. And the worst part is that LAFC also dominated shots on goal, corner kicks, but St. Louis's goalie, I'll say this, he had himself a game. So bravo to St. Louis City SC's goalie for having himself a game. Goalie is the most stressful position out there, and he was able to rise to the occasion against a very good LAFC team. So LAFC is back in action at BMO Stadium tomorrow when they host Houston. Here's hoping we have a better week when it comes to all of the SoCal teams in the MLS. So, all right, speeding right along through the ML or the NWSL, Angel City unfortunately blew a 2-0 lead, and they lost on the road to the Orlando Pride 3-2. I'm sure Jess of Shin Pads and Shenanigans wasn't too happy. She was live tweeting the game. She even messaged me saying Angel City's looking pretty good, and I was saying they are looking really angel good. Unfortunately, I think she kind of jumped the gun, and we kind of jumped the gun altogether. It looked like Angel City was going to win, but they allowed 2 goals, and no lead was safe with the Orlando Pride, and Orlando completed the comeback with a 3rd goal. It really was frustrating. On the positive side of things, Wave FC was able to take down Chicago 3-0, but let's be honest, it's Chicago. Chicago stinks. No offense, Adam. To the MLB, Dodgers and Padres both had successful weeks as they swept their series, as the Padres swept the Giants and the Dodgers swept the Marlins, even though that's not really all that much to write home about. But the Dodgers and Padres are still riding high when it comes to those win streaks. The Angels, on the other hand, woo! They stink. I need to open the window at this point. You know what? I'll open the window after the break, because the Angels stink so bad. They've lost 6 in a row. They're now in last place. I knew this was too good to be true. I knew this Angels good streak was too good to be true. They stink. There's no better way of saying it. The Angels stink. They lost to the Twins. They lost to the Mariners, and they lost to Detroit yesterday. The Angels, by all that means, stink. I knew this when we all should have seen this one coming. I knew this was coming from a mile away. I knew that the Angels were going to have this whole collapse where they lose a bunch of games in a row, and they would go from, oh, look, the Angels are looking pretty good, to, oh, it's the same old Angels again. Typical Angels. Other than that, the Dodgers have won 5 in a row, which is nice. The Padres, they got back on track after their tough series, after they lost. And the Padres, they wound up sweeping the Giants, which is always good news. It's always great when any SoCal team takes down the Giants, which is great, because so if we're keeping score, the Padres took down the Giants in the 2-game series, which is nice. And then the Angels took 2 out of 3 against the Giants as well. So that makes me happy a little. But the Dodgers are still the Dodgers. They actually surpassed 20 games. So I was wrong when I said the Padres were going to surpass 20 wins first, not only in the MLB, but of the SoCal teams as well. So the Dodgers surpassed 20 wins, and I apologize to everybody. I lied. I thought I was wrong. I am ashamed of myself. So, but unfortunately, the team that did surpass 20 wins first was the New York Mets, who have now lost 2 straight. But I digress. All right, but that is that for the MLB portion of the show. I'm sorry if I had to go through it rapid fire, but my guest is actually ready, so we're going to bring him on in a little bit. So we're going to take ourselves a quick little commercial break. When we come back, we will bring on our guest to talk about the Lakers and rag on them So keep it locked here. You were listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph Galise, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate diehard Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan? Then please join me on the Injury Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports, and I will update you on all that's black and gold. Have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Galise, the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter, at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter, at any time. Be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the '08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies.
And your one-timers.
You wicked wristas.
And be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch The Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No. Not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on The Defining Moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
And we are back with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Definitely check out all of our amazing shows. Apologies for a little bit of the delay, but we have our guest here waiting in the wings. So our next topic that we're going to be talking about is none other than the team that really make me frustrated, the Lakers. But with me, I have a special guest to help talk some Lakers. He is my brother from the same mother, and he is ready to rip the Lakers just as much as I am. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming back to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show via stream, the one, the only, Justin Rodriguez. How you doing, Justin?
Doing, pretty good, considering, best I can, I should say, considering all the circumstances. Lakers aside, I don't quite have the, equipment that you have. I've never really done like I've done live streams with you before, but I've never actually joined on my own phone. So bear with me, you and everybody else that's watching out there.
Yes, it's no problem, and yeah, it's tough. I mean, both of us are. I'm guessing you're using your phone, and I'm using my phone to do this, so it's all good. The fact that you are
with the instructions that you sent me, like it was either my phone or my iPad, and I have my laptop here so I could go over some stats with you, if needed, just to have some notes here and there. But by the way, real quick before we jump into the Lakers and all things NBA, I was listening to you earlier talking football. I couldn't help but crack up so much when you talked about the San Diego Chargers. Or Teran, you would be amazed at how many people in mainstream professional sports media that still calls them the San Diego Chargers. As a matter of fact, I was just watching First Take the other day. It was either First Take or something on ESPN, and one of their one of the pundits, that was talking about. I think they were talking about the draft or something, and that guy called them the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah,
so
and
old
Ralph,
habits die hard.
Yeah, and Ralph was just raising me. He was obviously kidding with me, but he says they'll always be San Diego to him. He's a diehard Steelers fan, so he probably remembers the days of like Phillip Rivers versus Ben Roethlisberger, and probably the Chargers and Steelers battles in the AFC Championship back in the mid '90s, one of which the Chargers was able to win, which eventually they lost in Super Bowl. I think it was 29 to the San Francisco 49ers.
That was the only time they were in the Super Bowl. They were ever in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, but they were San Diego back in the day.
Yeah, they were San Diego for the longest time. And he's not the only ones that that feel that way. Everybody on, the Mason and Ireland show says the same thing. They'll always be the San Diego Chargers to us, but they're all Rams fans, either Rams or Raiders fans. Well, there are a few Chargers fans that that work on that show or that station, but they're mostly Rams or Raiders.
Mm-hmm. All right, so are you ready for us to rip off this Band-Aid?
Yes.
Well, before we do that,
I feel like we're still I feel like I'm still recovering from a hangover. I think all Laker nations, is still feeling that way.
I want you. Our boy Marcus Los Great decided to be a little. He has jokes. He says, "I have a big box of tissues for all Lakers fans." Yeah, look at what he.
I see that. I see that, Teran. Yeah. We're probably going to need them for a while, so I appreciate that, Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus has jokes for days. But yeah, and yeah, right on cue though. Marcus says, "I'm here for you." Okay, thank you, Marcus. So, and then Glenn Ritter popped into the chat room as well. He says, Marcus also said, he said he's here for you. And then
I saw that.
Glenn also popped into the chat room. He says, "Great show so far, Teran." Thank you, Glenn. And yeah, Glenn Ritter is actually the host of our Minnesota show. And
oh, great.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, we got to congratulate.
Wait, did he need to cover to Gloat or something?
What's up?
Did Glenn just pop on to Gloat or something? I appreciate the sentiments, by the way.
Yeah, he's been listening all show for the most part, and he is a Timberwolves fan. He's the host of our Minnesota show. So
and
first
Marcus
and foremost, we got to congratulate the Timberwolves. As much as painful as it is to lose to the T-Wolves, and as much as everyone picked the T-Wolves to pretty much lose to the Lakers, they proved the Lakers wrong. Like, Anthony Edwards was a beast. Julius Randle got his lick back against his former team. Naz Reid was pretty good. Rudy Gobert was a beast in Game 5.
Well, he should have been a beast. I mean, he was supposed to. The Lakers had the Rudy Gobert's like what 7'2", and the Lakers had nobody over 6'7". I don't think they basically played that game with no center, no big man. So and look, Chris Finch just flat out coached JJ Redick. He knew how to attack the Lakers and exploit their weaknesses, not just in the middle, but he knew how to exploit LeBron's weaknesses, which basically his only weakness is that he's 40 years old. Chris Finch's assignment to his guys that guarded LeBron, mainly Naz Reid, was wear him down because no matter how good he is, at the end of the day, he's old and he's going to fold. And Luka, he's slow defensively and out of shape. So they want Anthony Edwards and their main scorers. they all wanted Luka. When they got the Luka matchup, that's when they attacked. Luka Doncic led the league ever since Luka Doncic, ever since he got traded to the Lakers, had led the league in blow-bys in the regular season and in the playoffs. Oh, not just this series, the entire first round. So he's taken a lot of heat for this loss, and I'm sure you're going to jump into this, eventually. But I mean, JJ Redick put him on full blast in that press conference the other day.
Yeah, and this is kind of where not having a big just really hurts the Lakers. And look, and I get it. It would have been great to have Mark Williams, but I don't think he would have moved the needle all that much. He's a solid big man, but he's not like the best. And I know JJ Redick put Jackson Hayes on blast too in the series or during the series. But honestly, Jackson Hayes,
he hardly played him in the last couple of games. He didn't play him at all in Game 5.
He's just not elite. He's not like that Shaquille O'Neal presence, or
were you kidding me? Not even close.
Or at least Anthony Davis level.
No, not even close. Jackson Hayes is nowhere in their leagues. I mean, Jackson Hayes is just a guy.
He's serviceable.
Yeah, I mean, he can make contributions here or there, but he's not a center. Like, he can be like a pretty good power forward. I mean, if you use him right. I don't think he's any better than Jaime Jaquez, to be honest with you.
There it is. All right, but the big game that really irked me was Game 4, where the Lakers had, I think they had 2 double-digit leads, and they were looking pretty good going into the fourth quarter, and then they just pretty much crumbled. And the weird part was that JJ Redick didn't even make any substitutions. He just straight up left the Lakers lineup in there just to like continue to do their thing. It shouldn't be that way with LeBron just playing 46 minutes as well as Luka Doncic playing 46 minutes. And it just felt weird seeing all the starters just in. It felt like, does he not trust his bench that much to the point where that's what it's boiled down to? So I want to get your take on that.
Well, to answer your question, JJ Redick pretty much answered your question. It was an emphatic no. He didn't trust his bench at all in Games 4. In Games 4 or Games 5. This is so bizarre. Can you ever remember a time? Excuse me, when an entire lineup was out there for an entire duration of a half.
Yeah, it's crazy if you ask me, and that really it really just bites. And apparently Glenn Ritter didn't know of a blow-by stat. So this is why I have Justin on the show. This is why I have my brother on for statistics and for.
Well, Glenn, I can't really. Well, it exists. I can't really take credit for bringing up that stat. But if you watch the ESPN morning shows, whether it be Get Up or First Take, they bring up that stat constantly. It's like part of the plus minus metric. I think it's a little bit inside baseball, but that's a fact. I mean, if you watch the games that closely, that's exactly what happened. I want to go back to that JJ Redick and him leaving out the start. That I don't know. Was it the starting 5? I know it was like it was 5 guys at once for an entire half. But Dorian Finney-Smith didn't start the game, but he finished it because he felt like he could trust Dorian on both ends of the floor in critical moments, and he had a pretty good series. I felt like. He didn't have a great Game 5, but certainly, nobody did really except for Rui Hachimura. but you know, but I mean, you could tell, and LeBron and Luka. I mean, they did their thing. I think LeBron had like 22, and I think Luka Doncic, in spite of him throwing out his back, had like 28. 28, 7 for 18 of shooting, 12 for 15 free throws. But I mean, just watching their body language, the entire team's body language, but mainly Luka and LeBron, you could tell they looked gassed. Like they were trying to haul as much what as they possibly could. But they couldn't. Like even that extra day of rest did not help. I mean, they were drained, and they were drained all series long. Not just because JJ Redick left him out there for 46 minutes, but because of the physicality of the and the defense of the Minnesota Timberwolves. They just completely wore the Lakers down all series long, and it just took its toll on them. And it showed in so many ways. The Lakers, were 11 of 37 shooting, 33 of 78. I'm sorry, I should say 11 of 37 from the 3-point line, 33 of 78 overall. I mean, not great. Though Minnesota didn't shoot any better. I mean, if you look at those stats, you think, well, how did the Lakers lose? Well, I mean, basically they got out-rebounded. They got out-rebounded all series long, except for game 2, basically, the game that they won. They were out-rebounded 54-37, 18-8 on the offensive glass. I mean, that's and because, again, they had no size. They made Rudy Gobert look like Rudy Go-Wilt. 27 and 24, the best game he's ever played in his NBA career. And that was a story all series long. I mean, the Lakers had no depth. They had no size. They could not get a rebound to save their life. And that's what hurt them.
Yep. It was very disappointing. And apparently in a press conference, Rob Pelinka, the Lakers GM, said that the Lakers are planning on getting a big man. But I feel the Lakers have more problems than just a big man problem. I think they need more depth. They need a sixth man. They need more pieces to their team, because it can't just be the LeBron, Luka, Reeves, and Rui show. It's got to be more, as the late Kobe Bryant would say.
Yeah. John Ireland basically said the same thing yesterday on Mason and Ireland yesterday. He wants really more depth, and more depth that he can rely on, that JJ can rely on. I mean, he wasn't really consistent with all his lineups, but he made sure he had at least an 8 or 9 man rotation. I mean, I know rotations tend to shorten in the playoffs, but still, I mean, the fact that you can only rely on 5 guys, for a duration of the series, that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, you couldn't put Jared Vanderbilt in for a few minutes. You couldn't put Gabe Vincent in for a few minutes. I mean, they're their best, guard defenders. Gabe Vincent helped get the Miami Heat to the finals a couple of years ago. So I don't understand what happened to Jordan Goodwin. What happened to who's another guy that really helped defensively? I mean, you tell me. But I mean, we thought that the Lakers with the Luka trade, had more depth, and their defense was just better. It was just a complete meltdown. I mean, when they're clicking on defense, and especially transition defense that leads to break offense, the Lakers are clicking. But when they're not, when they're giving up offensive rebounds, and when Minnesota's hitting, or any other team for that matter, seeing their threes, the Lakers are just completely disjointed, and they just got exposed this series. I can't hear you, Teran. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. So as I was saying, thanks for the catch. There a lot of question marks are going to be popping up when it comes to the Lakers. One will be, is this LeBron's last season? Will he play another year? Will the Lakers really go after a big man in the draft or in like free agency, so on and so forth and whatnot? A lot of questions are going to be arising for the Lakers. Glenn Ritter says, I think the Lakers would have more success using guys like Vando and Vincent to use fouls to get under the skin of McDaniels. And that's facts right there, because what's the point of having Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt? Jared Vanderbilt had to move mountains to try to get back to the Lakers rotation because he missed most of the season to start the year. And then Gabe Vincent, he
didn't play. He didn't come back and play until like Game 5 of the Denver series last year.
And then, as I was saying, wasn't Gabe Vincent part of the? I know Dalton Connect was part of the Mark Williams trade, but wasn't Gabe Vincent part of the?
Yeah. How could you not play Dalton Connect in that series?
Yeah,
you don't trust him.
Connect, even though he fell right into the
I know
Lakers'
he's
lap.
streaky,
He was a projected.
but still, you got to try something. I don't know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
It's all good. But yeah, Dalton Connect was a projected top 10 pick. He fell right into the Lakers' lap, and then the Lakers, and he's been pretty much under the heel of JJ Redick. So for a guy who had lots of promise coming out of Tennessee, he just didn't look like the guy for the Lakers in the playoffs and following the.
Let me ask you this, Teran.
Anthony Davis trade. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, since you brought up the Mark Williams trade, do you think that affected Dalton Connect's confidence and psyche in any way? Since because I mean after the trade went through, he literally flew to Charlotte, and then he was told the trade got rescinded. You got to come back. I mean, how does? I mean, put your mind. I mean, yeah. Put yourself in not just his shoes, but anybody's shoes who said, "Hey, you got a new job. You're being either transferred or you get hired somebody else or somewhere else, and that other party says either we don't want you or that'd be like the equivalent to you failed your background check, and in this case that's what happened with Mark Williams, and we're sorry, but you can't come to us, and you got to go back to your old team and either explain what happened or question why this other job wasn't meant to be, if that makes sense. That's got to be hard. That's got to mess with your psyche, and it'd be hard for any normal person, what's the word what's the term I'm looking for here? Any Joe Blow like you and me who works 4 or 5 days a week for a living. I mean, for a professional athlete, that travels constantly, in a profession that requires team group chemistry. I mean, that's hard. Do you think that almost trade, kind of strained Dalton's relationship and trust with JJ Redick and the Lakers? That's what I'm trying to ask.
Probably. I mean, that's tough for someone like Dalton Connect. I mean, he's such a great player. I think he's solid. I hope that he has like a sophomore step up instead of like a sophomore slump. I mean, he would be a definite value piece for anyone that needs like a shooter or anyone that needs like someone to play the four or whatnot, 4 or the 3. So all in all, to answer Justin's question, yes, I think that the possible trade might have affected his psyche and whatnot. I think it might have affected him, and perhaps it really like affected his gameplay. And it sucks because being under the heel of a head coach who is in his first year and he's still trying to figure things out, it's not easy. But I think that might be the case. Marcus put something. He says he actually asked, "Is it time for LeBron James to retire?"
Yeah,
I'm going to let you answer that question because I can't really answer that with the full confidence. I mean, it's so tough when it comes to him. He thinks that it's not time for him. He's still got plenty in the tank. What do you think? Is it time for LeBron to hang up the shoes?
Well, at first, before today, I mean, a lot of people, were talking about that. I'm like, dude, first of all, he's got 1 year left on his contract, or I want to say it's like a player option. I mean, I have to double check, but I think it's a player option. He can either opt in or opt out. I would have been surprised if he opted out, but you saw the news that he had an MRI late yesterday, and it revealed that LeBron suffered a grade 2 MCL sprain in his left knee. When he hurt himself in the fourth quarter of Game 5.
Yeah.
So it says the injury entails a 3 to 5 week recommended recovery timeline. So, I mean, he didn't tear it. So it's not going to keep him out for any part of next season, assuming he comes back, which I think he will. But here's the issue, though. I mean, normally for a much younger player, it's this is something that they'd be able to come back easy. But as great as LeBron is and has been, at this advanced age, at the end of the day, the man's still 40, going on 41 next year. And those injuries, the more he piles on these injuries, and remember, it wasn't that long ago that he suffered that groin injury. Eventually they're going to take a toll, and he's not going to be, as effective. LeBron James, at this point of his career, he can't physically carry a team. The Bucks stop. Look. Right now, the Buck stops with Luka. This is and should be Luka's team. They should be building the team around Luka Doncic for now, and for the foreseeable future, going forward. Even after LeBron retires, even past the LeBron era. Because I can see LeBron coming back maybe next year and opting in. But beyond that, who knows? I think if anything, if he feels like it, he may play for one more season. But I don't see LeBron playing, past age 42. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I think he'll be back next year, but I think the following year in the offseason, I think next year might be his last dance, if not the following year. I'd be shocked if he can continue to do this whole thing.
No.
Because he's been able to defeat Father Time. He's the all-time leading scorer.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous what he's been able to do.
All-time playoff leading scorer as well.
Yeah.
So he's more than proven his legacy, and I know he doesn't have the rings as MJ has, but he has a bunch of records, and he should be in at least the GOAT conversation.
To me, the GOAT debate is over, and it's not to throw shade on LeBron. I mean, he's the second greatest player of all time. If the fact that he was able to get as close to Michael Jordan as he did, it's more of a compliment to LeBron than it is a detriment. Michael's number one, LeBron's number two, and it's a steep drop off. Well, maybe not a steep drop off. I mean, I consider Kareem to be number three, but that's only because his biggest crime was that he played in a completely different era, like the 3-point line. Was just put into circulation like barely even a decade before he retired. So and it was a big man's league. So it was just a different time. But he's still amongst the greats. And then it's a steep drop off from there. Maybe you throw in Kobe and anyway, we could have that debate some other time. But going back to LeBron, yeah. His legacy set, and how much longer does he really feel like he needs to do this?
Exactly. He's a great entrepreneur and whatnot. His kid is in the NBA. I think maybe 1 or 2 more years, tops.
Yeah, I think LeBron wants at least one more season to see if he can win with Luka and whoever else they put around him. But going back to the Lakers roster, because of what happened this series, I don't think any player not named LeBron James or Luka Doncic is safe. I think all bets are off as far as who the Lakers target in the off season, and who's going to stay and who's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I know that LeBron and Luka both like Dorian and JJ Redick for that matter, all like Dorian Finney-Smith. I think he's safe, but I could see maybe I could see them going after big man like say maybe Steven Adams or Jaren Jackson Jr. is a name that's been thrown out. I think but he costs a lot more from what I hear, and you'd have to give up a lot to get him. I just don't really, as great of a player as he is, I just don't really think he's worth it. Worth what they'd have to give up. That is, Brook Lopez maybe. I mean, he's old, but he can come off the bench and hit some timely threes. And stretch the floor and be a presence, but I mean we need some guys that can bang down low. I don't really think Brook Lopez is the guy to do that. So yeah,
it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Lakers to say the least. Like sands of the hourglass, so are the days of our Lakers. But I actually do want to talk a little bit of some Clippers. So the other LA team from SoCal in the NBA is still alive, as the Clippers forced a Game 7 yesterday against the Nuggets. It was a little close at the end, but I was fully confident that the Clippers were going to vice grip that game and force a Game 7. So Clippers, I knew this series would kind of go 7 from the get-go. From the first 2 games in, I knew that the Clippers were going to be in for a barn burner against Denver. This one feels like the 50-50 series of the first round. And it's quite fitting that this series kind of goes 7, as Denver and the Clippers will be playing tomorrow in Denver. So what have you seen the Clippers a little bit, and what can you tell me about how the Clippers have been?
Yeah, I've caught quite a bit of that series. You know, it was as far as what I'm able to watch. I mean, unfortunately, they play in you know, the Clippers, just like the Lakers, have been playing in, like, you know, an ungodly hour for me here in Texas. But yeah, but for what I have been able to watch, I mean, it's been a very entertaining series, back and forth, and you know, it looked like this. I mean, early on, you know, through the first, like, you know, 3 games, or after the first 3 games, this looked like this was the Clippers to lose. But you know, Denver just came back and punched them in the mouth. The Clippers almost came back and won, but I mean, but that Aaron Gordon dunk might have saved the Denver Nuggets season. And you know, they took control, and the Clippers were very fortunate to win last night, and force that game 7. So tomorrow it's going to be a very entertaining game 7. And I mean, I feel for my friends in LA, my sports friends in LA, at least, because I was listening to Mason and Ireland earlier, and you know, John Ireland's view is that this week, these last, like, 7 or 8 days, have been like the worst period for LA sports. The Lakers, the Clippers, and the Kings were all in the playoffs, you know, and all favored to win their first round series. And during these last eight days, the LA teams went 1-9. The Lakers lose 3 straight and lose the series. The Kings lose 4 straight and lose their series. And the Clippers, the Clippers still have a chance to win, but the Clippers lost 2 games. They were able to force game 7. They can still save the week and the spring season for LA. But this, you know, I can't remember, at least from a Lakers standpoint, where I mean, a season ended in that kind of disappointment.
Yeah, and believe it or not, this was actually a stat courtesy of NBA on TNT through Kevin Harlan. The Lakers, as the 1, 2, and 3 seed, had never lost in the first round until they lost to the Timberwolves.
Wow.
Yeah, it's shocking if you ask me. And the Timberwolves, if I recall correctly, I think they only had one series won, or a few series won, back in 2004, if not one series won back in 2004, when they had Kevin Garnett, Latrell Sprewell, and Wally Zerbiak. But they hadn't had any ever since. But the past 3 years, they've won at least one series, which is amazing if you ask me.
The past 3 years. Well, I know they went to the conference finals last year, but the year before, 2023, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's actually the last 3. They've won 3 series the past 2 years.
Oh, God. Okay, got it.
That's what I'm probably thinking.
Well. Look, they have that team has a bright future ahead of them. I mean, especially, you know, if Anthony Edwards stays long term. I mean, he's the real deal. He's the future of the NBA. And you know what? Now that the Wolves have taken out both LeBron and Luka in the same series, they have the greenest light. You know, I feel like that team could go to the finals. I mean, they're not scared of anybody now. They're not scared of OKC. They've beaten OKC twice. In fact, they've beaten Golden State. They're not scared of them. They're certainly not scared of Houston. I think Houston's going home tonight, and they're not scared of, and they're certainly not scared of the Clippers or Denver. They beat Denver last year. So, and if memory serves me, didn't the Minnesota Timberwolves do something crazy like erase a 22-point deficit in OKC and came back and won in overtime earlier this year in the fourth quarter?
So.
Yeah, I was shocked at that one, but after seeing what's happened, I mean, nothing shocks me. I mean, they've proven to be the best fourth quarter team, in the second half of this season, and they're not scared of anybody.
I agree. I think the Timberwolves are sneaky good, and they could beat anybody now. They now pretty much are as you mentioned, they're not afraid of anybody. So, anything else SoCal related that you want to discuss before we wrap up?
Well, I hit on the Clippers and the Kings. Excuse me. You were talking about the Rams earlier. I mean, I think the Rams to me are the third best team in the NFC. I think they have a bright future in that young defense if they can maximize them and keep them. I don't understand this love for the Niners. If you're asking me, I mean the Niners, Vegas like has picked them to like beat to be ahead of the Rams to win the division. I don't understand that at all. I mean, the Niners had a terrible season last year, and they lost a lot of their good offensive players. So, like, didn't Deebo Samuel go somewhere else?
Yeah, Deebo's on the Commanders.
Yeah.
In the Niners' defense, they have a very easy schedule this year. It's practically a cupcake, and the Rams have a pretty difficult schedule. But I can see why, and maybe
that's the thing.
Yeah, and I don't think the Niners are going to get decimated by injuries like they did last year. But at the same time, I think people need to slow their roll when it comes to that too. I think the Niners can get back to the playoffs, but let's pump the brakes on.
Yeah, they might be able to sneak in as wild card, but yeah, I would definitely pick the Rams to win the division.
Mm-hmm. We shall see. I mean, it's a time will tell process with the Rams. I think the Rams are definitely going to be up there. I mean, one of my colleagues and the host of our NorCal show, Andre Fernandez, he says that the Rams are going to go down, are going to go back a bit, and the Niners are going to be better. It's like I want to wait and see.
What's he basing that on?
He's a Niners fan for starters, and
that okay. So you're just being a home.
Yeah, I want to wait. I want him to slow his roll when it comes to that. I mean, the Niners players are getting old. They have to pay them, and they might have to pay a few guys in free agency. They got a lot of voids to fill. So,
well, Brock Purdy's not old. I mean, he wasn't great last year, but then again, like you said, he didn't really have a lot of weapons to throw to. So, I mean, yeah, if they stay healthy, I think they'll be they might be a little bit better. I mean, they're getting McCaffrey back, so yeah. But I mean, I'm not just being a fan when it comes to the Rams. I'm being a realist. I think they're the third best team in the NFC behind Philadelphia and Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, once the pads are strapped on,
maybe Washington, maybe Washington pulls slightly ahead because of Debo, and Dan Quinn has coached a great defense, but
Daniels is a fantastic quarterback.
So maybe they're the one exception, but yeah, top 5 for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the NFC, I think is going to get a whole lot better. It won't be as stacked as the AFC, but the NFC, I think it has a lot of good potential teams that could like challenge Philly. It won't just be Philly and Detroit and the Rams. I think it can be other teams stepping up too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Green Bay is a team that's on the come up.
Yep. And they drafted pretty well. They got Matthew Golden, so.
Mm-hmm.
But on that note, I think we've touched upon everything important, and I think that'll do it for this week's episode of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Justin, any parting thoughts before we get on out of here?
Nothing for me. I mean, I'm just, just the one silver lining of the Lakers not being in the playoffs anymore is that like I don't have to worry about them when I go on my cruise next weekend. So looking forward to that.
Yes, enjoy your cruise, Justin. But thank you, Justin, for being a guest here on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I greatly appreciate it. For my brother from the same mother, Justin Rodriguez, and everyone here on IE Sports Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. Have yourself an amazing weekend. Enjoy all the SoCal sports action in any sport, whether it's in basketball or baseball or soccer or even in the college sports. But I will see you all Monday for Set Point. Have an amazing weekend. And remember, SoCal is for SoCal. Peace.
Thanks for having me, Teran.
Thank you, Justin. Appreciate you.